Second demerit is, sir, people use it to spread fake news and hoaxes,
Hmm.
which indirectly leads to bad influence on people. Third would be, sir, people use it for 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 uh, for their own vested interests, such as, sir, we know about the IT centers of various political parties. So they try to mislead people, sir. Fourth, sir, various terrorist organizations also try to recruit people using social media, sir. And sir, fifth is, sir, the social media giants try to gather all the data of their users, which is
Hmm.
sometimes legally, but sometimes illegally as well. So it has a cyber uh, condition as well, sir.
And how social media intermediary guidelines will help to mitigate or decrease this such kind of issues.
Yes, sir. Social media intermediary guidelines were released last year, sir. So they in the guidelines, sir, the media houses and the intermediaries are us to uh, use to us to deploy a liaison officer, which will be in direct contact with the government. And if at all there are certain posts or certain events which are posted on the social media platform itself, which is uh, which can cause harm to the national security or which can cause unrest in the population. So the government can ask the intermediary to remove it immediately, and the media giants have to comply with the government's issues, sir. So it will help to give us maintain peace and stability in the country, sir.
Now come to the very special issue that transgenders have given right to apply in various government examinations, also in armed forces. Recently in CAPF 2020 exam, they are included as a third gender. How do you see it?
Sir, as humans, sir, transgenders form very much part of our human population, and sometimes, sir, it happens due to birth defects or, sir, atrocities conducted on them in their childhood. So they historically, sir, they have been marginalized and deprived of the developmental gains which human as a race has gathered, sir, or garnered. So in that sense, sir, I think it is a right approach. It is a human approach to have them a chance to show their skills, to develop and to grow, sir, with the human population itself.
Okay. Now tell me how much it is important to build Ram Mandir for nationalism.
Sir, sir, Ramayana and Mahabharata, the two great epics in Hinduism, sir, these are the focal points, and a huge population of India revere Lord Ram as one of the great gods in Hinduism. So I think, sir, as the birthplace of Lord Ram, sir, it is definitely encouraging and reinforcing for Hinduism to have a temple in the Ayodhya itself, sir.
Okay. And just define the Hinduism. Many leaders also said that Muslim communities are also Hindu. They comes under Hinduism. Define the Hinduism.
Sir, there is no concrete definition of Hinduism, sir. Hinduism, as a religion, sir, uh, came from the word river Sindhu, which the Farsi word for river Sindhu, sir, which the Parsis referred to as the Hindu. So the land was referred to as the Hindustan, and the religion the people in the land follow was referred to as Hinduism, sir. But in totality, sir, Hinduism is uh, allowing a person to follow any path which is human in nature and to live and to let live, sir. So in that sense, sir, every person who is open, who is acceptable, who is liberal, can be referred to as Hindu. But as far as, sir, Islam is concerned, sir, I think it is very much defined, and they religiously follow Quran and the words by Prophet Muhammad, sir. So in that sense, sir, and a Muslim cannot be called a Hindu in that sense, sir.
Okay. What is the basic difference between among Quran, Sharia, and Hadith?
Okay, sir. Even though, sir, I do not know much in detail, but what I know is that, sir, Quran is the holy book of Muslims, sir, and sir, Hadith, the Quran, sir, consists of the writings of the Prophet Muhammad itself, the sayings and his teachings, sir. While Hadith is something, sir, which was not mentioned in Quran, but they say that these are the teachings which were also said by the Prophet Muhammad himself, but were compiled in a later period, sir. Sir, Sharia is the personal law of the Muslim community, sir. This is what I know.
Okay. What do you think about यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड? अगर यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड को इंडिया में इम्प्लीमेंट किया जाता है तो क्या मुस्लिमों के राइट, जो उनका मुस्लिम पर्सनल बोर्ड लॉ है जिसको हमने प्रोवाइड किया, क्या उसका वो हम लोग वायलेशन नहीं करेंगे?
Uniform Civil Code has found a mention in the Constitution in the directive principles of state policy itself, sir.
In which
Also, sir,
article?
Sir, article I am not able to recall, sir, at this moment.
40.
Okay, sir. And the Supreme Court of India has also advised government to find a way to implement the Uniform Civil Code, sir. So I think it will be beneficial as a developed nation to have everybody under a single law, sir. But sir, the friction point is that, sir, India is a diverse culture, and every religion and every cultural entities and communities have their own personal laws, sir. So in that sense, if at all uniform civil code is applied, sir, it will definitely infringe upon the personal laws of respective religions, be it Muslim, be it Islam, Christianity, or Hinduism, sir. So there will be some infringement.
It comes under Article 44, not under Article 40. 40 comes under Panchayat, Gram Panchayat. अब आप हमें बताइए कि भारत में कम्युनलाइजेशन या कम्युनलिज्म की शुरुआत हिस्टोरिकल पीरियड में कहां से आप देख पाते कि यहां से कम्युनलिज्म स्टार्ट किया गया है, और मॉडर्न इंडिया के रेफरेंस में बताइए.
Okay, sir. In modern India, sir, I think communalism finds its roots when the Britishers, sir, they separated the Bengal, sir, into the East Bengal and the West Bengal, sir. So it was totally based on, sir, religion. They wanted to separate the Swadeshi movement, which was at a peak in the region. So they were the first. That was the first instance where the land was divided on communal grounds, the religious grounds, sir, and it eventually evolved into the communalism we see today in India, sir.
Okay. And which one of these leaders will you find most important for Bharat ki Azadi, independence of India? Leaders are Subhash Chandra Bose, Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and Sardar Patel ji.
Sir, most important would be, sir, Mahatma Gandhi for independence, sir.
For independence. And after independence, which leader was most important? Removing Gandhiji from this option.
Sir, after independence, I think, sir, Sardar Patel was the most prominent, sir.
Why not Jawaharlal Nehru is the most important personality before independence and after independence both?
Sir, right when independence happened, sir, the princely states were given an option, sir, to either join India or Pakistan. But it was under the influence of Sardar Patel that most of the princely states decided to join India, sir. Also, the three states which were not really in a decisive mood were, sir, Hyderabad, Junagadh, and Kashmir, sir. and it was Sardar Patel's influence, sir, which led to the joining of Hyderabad and Junagadh into India itself, sir.
Okay.
So I think he was really.
Now tell me, who is benefited from Galwan clash?
Okay, sir. Sir, it was a Chinese incursion in the no man's land, sir. And at this stage, sir, China has, even though backtracked some of the ground that it covered in the no man's land, but there are still some areas which China still occupies, which was earlier a no man's land, and the previous situation has not been completely restored yet. So, sir, in that sense, sir, as far as territorial claim is concerned, sir, China has gained some ground. But at the same time, sir, diplomatically, it was in the all over the world, it was seen as a Chinese aggression. And in that sense, sir, India has garnered a lot of support worldwide, sir.
Okay. Now tell me, चाइना को पुलवामा पुलवामा ऑपरेशन में जो हम लोगों ने ऑपरेशन बंदर किया है, उसको एक सबक के रूप में कैसे लेना चाहिए? चाइना को कैसे एक सबक के रूप में लेना चाहिए? वो सॉरी, बालाकोट एयर
Yes,
स्ट्राइक
sir.
में ऑपरेशन बंदर जो हमने किया है, उसको चाइना को कैसे एक सबक के रूप में लेना चाहिए?
Yes, sir. So, sir, the surgical strikes which happened in Balakot, sir, we used both our Indian Air Force and Indian intelligence with great excellence, sir. So, and without anybody else knowing, sir, what we are going to do. So, in that regard, sir, we have the borders with Tibet, and we also have Tibetan government in exile in India itself, sir. So, in that sense, sir, China should be worried about India, that India is very much capable of not only striking in its borders, but also, sir, claiming its territories as it can do. So, sir, India is not the India which was in 1962, sir.
Okay, very good. Now tell me, why world top CEOs are from India, and why all top engineers not stay here and go outside of India and they explore themselves there? Why?
Sir, India has a rigorous education system right from the school days, and the institutions such as the institutions of eminence such as the IITs, the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore, and certain NITs, they follow a rigorous curriculum, and the students that pass out from there are highly skilled and highly educated, sir. Uh, at the same time, sir, the as most of the big tech companies are located in US, so the US government invites all the world talent, whichever whoever want to, sir, go to the United States and develop his or her skills in the field, sir. So it's an open competition, and when there is an open competition, we have seen that Indians do remarkably well, sir. So in India, sir, they do not get as much opportunities. That's why they go to US, and eventually we find that or the CEOs of the different big tech firms come from India itself, sir, because Indians have been really educated and competitive in their technology field, sir.
Okay, just tell me the capital of India in the time of Akbar.
Delhi, sir.
अकबर ने 4 राजधानियां बनाई थी, उन चारों को ऑर्डर में बताइए।
Sir, I'm not able to recall at this moment.
आगरा, फतेहपुर सीकरी, दिल्ली, लाहौर।
Okay, sir.
Okay, your interview is all the best for future.
Thank you, sir.